Welcome to the Fit Bridge, a podcast connecting you to conversations that help bridge you to success within the health and fitness industry. Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Fit Bridge Podcast. As always, it's me, your host, RC Hahn, and I hope you're in the mood for a good time because our guest today is bringing all of the fun and all of the wisdom. I have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Rowdy Yates. Now, Rowdy's been in the industry for over 15 years, started as a part-time personal trainer, and after breaking numerous performance records on a national level, he rightfully holds the current seat as Vice President of Fitness for the EOS Health Clubs. During this conversation, he brings us up to speed on some really unique virtual reality training that's available. Yeah, I'm excited to give that a try. He also unpacks the best ways to deliver and receive feedback. This is personally my favorite part of the episode because the acronym that he shares is so simple, yet so beneficial. And let's be honest, feedback is a crucial part of both personal success as well as the success of your team. I'm also going to let you know in advance that Rowdy is the only guest to have ever selected 3 animals as his words for the Fiber Foundation segment. So look forward to that absolutely brilliant and entertaining response. I'm grateful you're here. I hope you take something away from today's episode. Let's get started. Hello, Rowdy. Great to see you. Thanks so much for taking the time to be on the Fit Bridge podcast today. How you feeling today? You ready to rock and roll?
I'm feeling great. I appreciate having me on.
Yeah, I know this is going to be a super fun conversation. So I figured, why not just come out the gate and play a game? Are you down to play the word association game to kind of break the ice here?
100% down.
Okay. And you're familiar with the terms and conditions of this game here. I say a word, you just blurt out the first thing that comes to mind when I say
I'm
that
so
word.
nervous, but yes.
Okay. I think we're all a little nervous. This will either go real south real fast or might make us go viral. I'm not sure. All right. I got about 7 words. All right.
Got it.
First word, kettlebell.
Awesome.
Okay. I'm here for it. Second word, power.
Cleans.
You're like in fitness or something.
Right.
Third word, coach.
Lasso.
I'm not going to follow up on questions there. Fourth word, cheat day.
Ooh. Chicken fried steak.
It's getting more interesting by the second. Okay, last 2 words, inspiration.
Success.
And final word, leadership.
Life endeavor.
Love that. I know we're going to dive into that. I have more questions to follow up about that leadership, but continuing with the games aspect, I've heard that EOS has a virtual reality fitness gaming. Like, I've yet to be to one of those locations that has that. Can you share with us what that is?
Sure. Yeah. It's called Black Box Virtual Reality. We are the only fitness brand in the world that currently has that inside of our full-fledged gym model. And so we've got it currently at 4 gyms, but looking to expand on that quite rapidly. They're coming out with a new version of it that once that gets implemented, we'll be adding it to some locations. Already have the space built out for it, has it coming soon, ready to rock when they're ready on their end. But it's a really kick butt workout. You go in, and you put your virtual reality headset on. You're in your own booth, so you don't have to worry about people watching you, which is always my fear the whole time I'm in there. That's part of the heart rate elevation. It's just my concern that somebody can see me doing it. But you go in, and the concept of the game is that you're in an arena. You're battling up against there's a whole storyline, but you basically have to go save the universe by battling these other warriors, and they get harder and harder as you go. It actually builds out the whole programming based off strength tests that you do early on, and there's artificial intelligence built in that progresses you with scientific rationale behind it. So, Ryan DeLuca and his team have done an amazing job in regards to making this scientific in nature. There's actually, there's research behind it, but also just making sure that it's fun, that it's immersive, that a workout goes by fast, that you work harder than you might out there on your own. But you've got a cable machine. The cable machine goes up to, I believe, 250 or 300 pounds. So, any level of fitness, it's going to deliver a kick butt workout. You've got 6 lifts that you'll do inside of it. So you got lat pull row, chest press, overhead press, deadlift, and squat. And each one of those movements fires out a different attack against the person you're fighting. And then in between lifts, whenever you decide you're going to do a different movement, it'll adjust the cable machine for you. But in the meantime, you can decide I want to set out different warriors into the arena to help me fight. And you got to do boxing moves and karate chops to send out those warriors. So now I'll tell you, like, I wear my mind zone for every workout. And, in that half hour or so workout, like I'm steady in the yellow and red because, I mean, if you're competitive by nature, which most people are, right?
I'm trying to save the world. Like you got to be at a high threshold heart rate zone to save the world, man.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of responsibility in that half hour. So it's a really awesome workout, and it's cool because it does incorporate total body movements. It's obviously anaerobic in nature. So it's a really awesome workout. There's the members who latch onto the meeting because that is an industry or an area that the society we're going toward with the whole metaverse and everything. So we know that is going to just continually become an interest point for people as they come in. But it is also so outside of the box, no pun intended, that it's something that we really have to go in and get people to try. But once they try it, it's very difficult for them to not continue doing it.
Oh, well, sign me up for one of the people that wants to try it. That is so progressive and fun and just a unique concept. So I'm down for it. I'm here to save the world, one virtual workout at a time.
we appreciate
so count me in for a visit here soon to check that out. Speaking of saving the world, you've done your part saving the world through leadership. You have so much experience in that, successfully helping other fitness professionals, become leaders themselves. So I want to ask you, is there kind of like this one leadership attribute that you can pinpoint or highlight that a leader cannot go without implementing?
Yeah, I think just conceptually, some people get into leadership because of what it benefits for them. The accolades, the attention. I think the true lesson in leadership is it always becomes less and less about you and more about the people that you're leading. Your job is really to remove obstacles for them, be maybe even more focused on where they want to get than they are. Making sure that you're the one helping them identify goals, identify timelines, and then putting together plans and accountability systems to help them get there. I'm a firm believer that nobody goes into an endeavor or job or really anything and say, I can't wait to fail, right? I don't think anybody does that. I think that they may fail to plan. They may fail to, learn from losses. They may fail to, give themselves pats on the back for successes, and that might limit their ability to reach their, the ultimate outcome that they're shooting for. And I think that's what a leader is really there to do, is to help them, do those benchmark, items that really just gets things out of their way and lets them become successful on their own terms.
Yeah, I love that. And then just furthermore, like how does one leader go about that? Like, I feel like that's an absolute yes, right? That's the ultimate goal. Are there skills or implementations that a leader should do within, individualizing? Is it a one size fits all? Is it like, how do they actually, deliver that style of leadership?
Sure. I think what you said as far as one size fits all is it's exactly not that. That's exactly what not to do. That's something that we here at EOS, we went back about 3 years ago, and we've done it now a couple of times just for new employees or refreshers. We have a consultant. Her name's Jill, and I wouldn't even really call her consultant at this point. She's been with us for 7 years, and she's actually family of our CEO. But she works with Fortune 50 companies, but at this point she's on the EOS team due to the frequency in which she interacts with our leaders on any level, from a lead trainer, which is just our top trainer in each club, all the way up to our CEO, right? And one of the concepts that we've implemented and has really stuck, it's part of the fabric of who we are, is what's called situational leadership. And what that it's a Ken Blanchard concept that he taught and that she now teaches. And the concept is essentially that each person is going to be at a different development level for a certain task, right? Nobody's just great at everything, excited about everything. We all have things that, you don't have to tell me to work out. Like, I'm going to go work out. I love doing it. I don't need motivation to do it. It's just part of, my daily regimen, and it forever will be. But if you ask me about, some admin task, it may be something I understand it's important. I may have the skill to do it, but it's not what I wake up thinking about. Exactly. And so, whenever we're leading someone around a specific task that we know they need to accomplish, we know it's part of their job, we know it'll make them more successful and help, the people that they lead be more successful. It's identifying, how motivated are they in this area? How skilled are they in this area? And then the leadership style really is to mirror and match the needs with each of those those drivers, so that if it is direction they need, give it to them and give it to them at a level that they can become skilled at it. But in some cases, they are skilled at it, and just telling them how to do it is not going to be effective. It's more about the support, the accountability, and the frequency in which you do that might help them become more successful in that area. So it's definitely not a one size fits all. It really is about conforming to the needs of not just the individual but the task. And another thing that we have is we have the ability through predictive index. It's a behavioral assessment to better understand from the answers of our applicants and hires and team members is how are they hardwired? Because we can all be adaptable to some level, but the question is how straining or draining might that be to become somebody that you're just really not, whether that be to be super detail oriented, which I'm not. I like to have freedom, a lot of freedom within the framework. So for somebody to come in and be overbearing, in creating that organization in me would be draining. And not to say that it wouldn't be helpful on a certain level, but if my leader, which knows that's just not how I'm hardwired, to be able to give me the freedom to say, I don't care how you get there, just go from point A to point B and get there. I'm better with that kind of a leadership style because of how I'm hardwired. So, I think those two factors, being situational leadership and just the behavioral assessment, kind of knowing who you're talking to or coaching, are both extremely useful in hitting your target more times than not.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that you guys are implementing that. I feel like that's another unique feature as far as your model, internally, and probably a big pillar to you guys' success is kind of that individualization of within your team and knowing how people operate at their best so that they can perform their best so that everyone can win. Really beautiful. I'm curious to now take mine. Could you send me the
I'll send you
assessment?
one.
I'm curious.
I'll send you one today. I'm interested to know.
Yeah, kind of want to steal that model from you if you don't mind. It makes me think of, obviously both in the space of having had trained clients as well, and then that mirrors a lot of what it looks like to train other leaders, right? A lot of the same skill sets in place. I always tend to think of, that individualization we talk about and catering to someone, rapport building and connecting on a deep level. Can you unpack for us your opinions on building connections, how important and valuable rapport is, and then maybe some best practices that you found and how to truly, connect with someone, whether it's your clients or your colleagues or your team or, anyone whom you're around?
Sure. Yeah. And you call it something. So I think sometimes people look at when I train clients, it's going to be different than whenever I train trainers, which is a fitness manager or really anybody who's going to be working with fitness professionals to make them better. I think they're identical. It's just, in one scenario, the person might be paying you for a service you're delivering to them. The other person might be paying you for the service you deliver to others, but they're the same. You're leading people and you're having to, adapt and overcome challenges in regards to that relationship on an ongoing basis. And so as far as, building rapport, building trust, I think that, the first thing is when I became a trainer, and it hit me between the eyes, like day one. I'm like, hold on, I got my NASM cert. I've got a lifetime, 20 years at that point of being active and working out. And I know it all. So now all I got to do is just go tell people what to do, right? And give it like 3 weeks. Right? Wait, nobody's doing what I'm telling them to do, and this is hyper frustrating. It's like, well, and that is, that is the hardship that most trainers encounter, right out of the gates. And so, if I could, say the one thing when it comes to, building rapport and gaining trust is it's not about how much you know, it's about how much you care. And typically we're working with someone who is, they're an adult at this point, and in some cases in the 30s, 40s, 50s ongoing. So they can sense that, right? You can tell when somebody genuinely cares about you. And so, I think the paradigm at which you go about it is the most important. Is if you're in the fitness industry, you have to care about the success of others. And that success can be quantified a million different ways. I mean, it could literally be just, hey, I came through the door today, and that's my success story, and that's fine. But whatever they identify as a goal / success is that should be what we are focused on throughout the entirety. So, first, in regards to building trust, I think we first have to identify what does this person really want to accomplish, and whether that be a client, whether that be a trainer in their career, what is it that they would call, their mountaintop or their end zone, and we need to be 100% aligned to that. And then, if I'm talking to a trainer, there's some things that we might ask of them from time to time. Like I'll give an example. We use supplementation within our PT program, and sometimes just getting a client on a multivitamin to a trainer could be like this additional task that I'm like, no, we know statistically 8 or 9 people out of 10 are going to take some form of supplementation, right? What I'm asking you is to utilize a product that we have signed off on, its quality, that we know it's formulated for them, and that you don't have to go research 100 different brands because you have clients taking all these different things. Like, we're giving you a resource to be a better trainer, but it can be viewed as a task. But what that tells me is we haven't aligned our company goals with their goals. And so if we know the person's goals and then we can help them align with how that, directly aligns with ours, I think that's where we start to get the alignment that we seek out. And then from there, it's really about making sure that you are diligent, even maybe obsessive, in making sure that they're constantly heading in a positive direction toward their goals, right? And it'll be a zigzag, right? We all know that there's going to be setbacks and successes, but at the end of the day, when you look at a 3, 6, 12 month, 2-year, 10-year type of timeline, are we getting them to the destination that they set out, or at least giving them our all? And by our all, I mean, you got to give people feedback. And I think that's the most difficult thing for trainers early in their career, and definitely for leaders, is if I give feedback, they might not like me, and that's a bad thing. It's like, well, that's on how you give the feedback, right? But if the feedback is delivered with, a method that is, clearly, and the intent is clearly stated, and that we're calling out something that's going to prevent somebody from reaching their goals, and it comes from a place of warmth and trust, that to me is the best way of building trust over time, is the fact that, wow, you were willing to do something that made you uncomfortable for my sake. And it's difficult at times, but the more you do it, the more trust it gets built and the more success it happens.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there. It makes me think of a quote, maybe from a similar mentor of ours, since we have the same wavelength going on here, that, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care.
Totally.
And that was kind of like the golden rule of when we were working with our clients or with our team from a leadership standpoint. Like, nobody's going to listen to you. You can have the best skills and applications and systems to put in place to help that client or that employee win. But if they don't know how much you genuinely care and your why behind why you're trying to deliver this feedback, it doesn't matter. It's not going to stick. They're not going to take it. And I think a part of caring is delivering authentic, genuine feedback, because we can't grow if we're in a space where everyone's telling us what we want to hear and not giving us that, really compassionate, tough love to say, hey, you have this goal and I'm standing by your side because I care about you reaching that goal. So we're going to need to pivot. And do you have other opinions and insights around best strategies and how to deliver feedback beyond just making sure that that foundation of authentic care is there? Are there other, like, I've heard like the sandwiching approach, you know what I mean? Like, are there other like tips or nuggets you can provide around providing feedback?
Got a great one. It's in a training that we deliver called Firestarter. There's multiple facets of the Firestarter training, but really one of the core elements of it is how to deliver feedback and how to deliver coaching. And the feedback model, it's an acronym, is IBISC. And this is something that's extremely common vernacular inside of our clubs. I mean, we could talk to, a fitness manager of this club, you say IBISC, and they're going to immediately know what you're talking about. And we feel very passionate about the fact that feedback is necessary. It's a must, but it's also an area that many people lack skill in and or are terrified of doing. And so we need to give them that skill. We need to role play it with them. And it needs to be done to them, because, feeling IBIS done on you and be like, well, that was awesome, right? Even though it was constructive criticism, I feel great about it, or at least I understand where I need to improve. You start to understand, like, that is my job as a leader, and trainers are leaders. So that could even be, IBIS clients. And so IBIS as an acronym is, the first I is intent. So need to state why am I giving this feedback? What is my intention from the feedback? The B is for behavior. So that way you're calling out a behavior, not like I say, like, this is something that happened. It's just an observation, right? The second I is impact. What was the fact of the outcome of that behavior, positive and negative? right? The S is for silence, which is more of like letting them absorb what you just gave them, and maybe taking the feedback if they have any, or rebuttals if they have any. And then the C is coach, which goes into its own separate model. And so the quick role play, like it can be something as simple as like I walk into a club and the front desk person doesn't like light up, right? And I could easily grab them like, hey, RC, I want to give you a little feedback because I know that you really want to be great at your job. And I saw something this morning that wasn't 100% was what we expected, what I know you expected yourself, right? And that was whenever I walked through the door, there wasn't, teeth and eyes, smiles, and a high. You didn't light up my day. And I know that you can light up my day because I've seen you do it 100 times. And what happens then is if we do that, we might not get our members to have that experience that brings them back to the next workout, which might lead to them falling off and not accomplishing their goals. Like you were extremely important in our success with our members having a great experience. And I just stopped. And you're like, yeah, no, I didn't mean to do that, right? That's not who I want to be. And I'm like, cool, all right. So, and maybe there's a, this advanced coaching, but on that, it's just like, hey, let your personality shine, bring it to the table every day and, make our members smile. And so if we do that, and the more frequently you do that, the more comfortable you go with it. And really what I've found, because the feedback was something I struggle with, I come from I'll say a culture, an upbringing, where it's sports, predominantly, parents were very direct, and I'm okay with that, but at the same time, not everybody is. And so, that one size fits all is not even accurate when it comes to, giving feedback. But as I started to deliver feedback and seeing how it could actually not only make somebody better, but actually they're so appreciative of it, it just makes you want to seek it out. Like you're looking for opportunities to give feedback. But also on that note, and this is something that I find maybe I just don't say frequently enough, is feedback is also on the flip side is when you see something right. In fact, it should be a 4-to-1, 10-to-1 ratio. I see you do something well. Let me go recognize that and reinforce it so that it happens more frequently. Because even if it was something as small as the flip side, I was like, hey, RC, I watched you put a smile on every member's face as they left the gym today. And I want you to understand how valuable, like that means it'll never go away, right? And so, feedback is a huge part of what we feel is something we need to have a culture built around for our long-term success.
I love that. May I provide some feedback, Rowdy?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I'm good. Let's go.
That was the most graceful feedback example I've ever heard. I don't know. I still need to practice at the IBISC process. So I know I didn't hit every letter in the acronym. I'm just saying that was immaculate. I see why you're sitting in the seat that you sit in today. I felt good. I felt like I was the real front desk person. I was like, thank you, Rowdy. Definitely going to apply that and look, into that even more. I really love that acronym. So thanks for sharing that. I want to pick your brain about a recent leadership style. I'm sure you're familiar with it. I've heard people use this phrase, servant leader, and you should be a servant leader. I want to hear your opinion on that philosophy and approach to leadership. And what do you consider servant leadership to be in your perspective? And then do you kind of agree with that method or feel like it's not the most beneficial style? And if your response is not the most, if you could provide a different style that you feel like would be more impactful?
Yeah. So servant leadership, I compare this to the last 15 years of, functional training. It's the most thrown out term that I don't know that if you asked a dozen people, would you get the same answer? I feel very passionate you would not. Functional training. I mean, for some that might mean like standing in the middle of a freeway, single leg on a Bosu ball, juggling, chainsaws. You're like, that's functional. I'm like, is it? Right. So
I do that every morning, by the way. That's my warm up.
I've seen it. That's where I came from. Servant leadership, I think it can be, defined so many different ways. And I think it is the way to, yeah, absolutely. I think that again, caring about your people and, really getting up to go to work each day to improve their, work experience, their career opportunities, and knowing that impact is their families, their friends, their happiness. I mean, it's bigger than just, a P&L or a scorecard saying that this is moving in a positive direction. That might be a scoreboard or a metric of success. But at the end of the day, as a leader, again, it really is about the success of your people, the happiness of your people, and knowing that in our industry that gets transferred over to the experience of our members. And that's where we know as fitness, there's a multitude of things that, hey, I was more confident. I got up in a boardroom and I expressed my views and it got me noticed. I mean, like, it's not just about I lost 10 pounds or I got a six pack. I mean, there's just so many things that we impacted, yes, we have to be servant in our leadership. So I think where I see it misconstrued sometimes is my job as a leader is to, just basically, conform to everything that you need, which is accurate on some level, but at the same time, not really, because again, sometimes they need friction and you need, conflict, and we need to be able to get our views aligned, which isn't, always rainbows and unicorns. Sometimes that takes, some of this in order to get where we need to get to. So to me, what servant leadership is it's really about dialing back to what I said, it's being clearly aligned in what the goals are. It's being more focused on their goals than maybe they are. It is that whole situational leadership style. Like that's where I think you are being servant. I'm going to adapt my leadership style to your behavioral needs, but also the needs that you need for this specific task, knowing that if I do that, I'll get the better outcome, which if I get the better outcome means that you're happier and more successful. So I think all of those things that we brought in with the IBIS feedback, the situational leadership, the predictive index, to me, that is how you become a more servant leader. But it's not just about ARC, like you're right, you push back and I don't want to create conflict. That's not what it is, right? It really is about, doing all the things that we talked about at this point to make sure that somebody is as successful as they strive to be.
Yeah, beautiful. Right answer. I don't know if there was a right or wrong answer, but I'm going with right answer, Rowdy.
I'll take it.
Okay. I'm really excited about this next portion because we're going to move into the fiber foundations moment where you've pre-selected 3 words that you feel are these pillars, right? These links necessary for success that a leader, a trainer, an individual should possess so that they can achieve success.
Sure.
Now, the words you've selected are not normal. And I love that about you. You're bringing to the table bull, chameleon, and goldfish. You got the full zoo layout there. Mr. Yates, can you please elaborate on why you have selected these 3 animal words and enlighten us on bull, chameleon, and goldfish?
Yeah, I haven't seen the other interviews that y'all have done yet, so I was like, man, I'm positive if I were just to go into like a thesaurus and start picking out words, it's gonna have.
You're the first one to do that, so
fantastic.
I love that.
Fantastic. All right, I'll elaborate. And not to mention, like, you visualize these things, whether it be just, metaphorically or like, hey, that's how that animal reads. To me, it sticks. So I'll start with bull. Yeah, they're strong, but really they are stubborn. The concept stubborn is a bull, Tauruses are stubborn. The reason why I say stubborn is, as a trainer, I'll talk trainer because that to me is the one that really sticks the most. Is if it were as easy as just telling somebody what to do and them doing it, I'm a strong believer the personal training industry would be dead right now. And what I mean by that is Google would have solved obesity and all the other things that we're here to tackle. It would have solved that because information is readily available. Like my NAV and cert wasn't a birthright. I paid some money, I studied, I took a cert, and I have this knowledge now, which is something that every single one of our members and clients or people seeking fitness education can get that. Right. But what it is it's about behavioral change, right? It's about somebody being, dedicated, politely persistent, right? Helping to kind of just, mold these behaviors and therefore habits and therefore outcomes into change. And so, you as a trainer, as a leader, you got to be stubborn. You got to be politely pester people into getting where they want to get to. Now, obviously, that also on the flip side doesn't mean stubborn in regards to your own personal growth, your own personal development, being willing to let other opinions and other information impact your way of thinking. That's different. But when you're talking about getting someone from A to B, it can't be. I've had trainers in the past, myself. In fact, I remember exactly when it happened. I wanted to fire my first client. I was killing it. I was like, I was crushed. I was one of the top trainers in all of the company. And, I thought I'd earned this right now, where if a client doesn't do what I want to do, then they could train with somebody else. And, one of my mentors was really like checking me in regards to like, hey, but like, is that really what you want to do? Like, does that accomplish what you want to accomplish? Because I think he knew I did have a deep burning passion for helping people. And, after some reflection and just, him surfacing some thoughts and emotions, I'm like, no, that's exactly the opposite I want to do. I don't want to, get rid of a client just simply because they didn't, meet Rowdy Yates's way of doing things. And nor does that really need to be, what that person needed to be successful. And so, be persistent, be stubborn is why I picked bull.
I thought Non-related at all. It's the only bull fact I know. I don't know if this is accurate, but did you know bulls don't attack you if you don't move? Like the only reason they will trample you, for lack of better words, or probe you with their horns. I don't know what the correct adjective is of what they do, but have you seen the videos? Do you know what I'm talking about? Where a
No.
whole bunch of people stand in the arena, and as long as they don't move, the bull just runs all around them and zigzags. But if you entice it, that's the only reason.
All
It
right, so I'm from Texas, and used to go to rodeos, and I think it's called Mexican Sweat, is where you have four people in the middle of an arena, and they put their hands on a poker table, and they let a bull loose. Right? They're not moving, yet that bull still finds a way to get all four. So I have to call a little bit of BS, and I've seen that not work.
Oh, it's on now.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
okay. Okay. For a whole nother episode, I'm going to text you later. We are going to put bets on the table about this.
Yeah. So side note, I don't know why I'm sharing this right now. This is
I have
my
no
inability.
idea. We just
This
went.
is my inability to
Hang with us, people. We're going to
yeah.
get back to it. I promise.
You
But
you can edit this out. So I was at a Vegas trainer meeting about 2 months ago, and walked in. I was just going to say bye to everybody as I was flying out, and they were middle of a PowerPoint, and the RVP is like, "Hey, this is Rowdy. For anybody who hadn't met him, Rowdy, give us one fun fact," and put me on the spot. And I'm like, and I just panicked, and I'm like, I've been headbutted and knocked out by a goat before. And
that was your go-to fact at the conference in front of all the.
Oh, I had a full-on like concussed flashback of like, this is what I want to say publicly. And so,
I'm blaming that on you getting hit in the head by a goat. That makes that be your first go-to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's dangerous. But nobody should ever do that to either one of us, because there's no guessing what will come out of our mouths. Like, don't put us on the spot. That's
I need
that other person is responsible for whatever comes out of our mouths if you do that to us.
Completely agree.
Oh, well, after that short commercial break, we are now back. Thank you for staying tuned with the FitBridge podcast. We got Rowdy here. He's still on the show. We were talking about bulls. If you just took a break to get some water and come back, we're now going to talk about Chameleon. Why did you select Chameleon? Sure. And I hope we have equally as entertaining stories about Chameleon.
I don't have one on this. No reptile stories. Chameleon is, a lot of what we've already talked about, in regards to the situational leadership is, in order to get somebody to where they want to, whether it be a fitness goal, whether that be their professional goal, there is no one way, right? Every single person is unique. Every person is going to have, a unique starting point, a unique end point. They're going to have different rates of success that they are striving for. They're going to have different elements that they're willing to change. I've had clients who, I could tell them to, eat a certain way, they change it overnight. And I've had people that I can say, hey, do this. I'm not doing any of that, but I'll do cardio 7 days a week. Like our role is to kind of figure out which lever can I pull and tweak and kind of mold this program together. And, this client wants to do yoga. Okay, cool. Can I mix in a little strength training like this? It's really about finding a way to be a chameleon, meaning to kind of mirror and match the needs of the person in front of you in regards to how can I make them appreciate the product, be happy in the service long enough to develop trust and modify the behaviors over time. I mean, I've had clients that, starting off were telling me all the things they'll never do. And one of them, his name's Chris. I trained him in New York. He actually became a mentor of mine, worked with his wife. His wife was actually my GM at the Crunch up there in Manhattan. And, coming in, he's a master's, now doctorates, he's very successful. And basically there was nothing that he didn't already know. And nobody could tell him any differently, and very stubborn. But over time, just by giving, if I could get an inch here, I'll take it. And then, if I can get an inch over here, I'll take it. And next thing I know, he walks up to me and he's like, hey, I want to do a tough mudder. Wait, what? This is the guy that just getting him to come in and do some strength training, twice a week was like pulling teeth and, getting him to do this exercise versus that. He do it all, right? And so next thing you know, he wants to run a tough butter with me. And it's just looking back at the transformation that happened because I didn't say, hey, it's my way or the highway. You have to do this. Like, no, you're right. You're totally right. Let's do this. And, reward and recognize them there. But hey, you think you could just pay me back with a little bit of this over here? And over time, just watching it transform into something where he was, driving me, I didn't want to do the tough mudder. Like running 14 miles sounded awful to me. So, but at the same time, I can't turn down a client, especially when they've had that kind of journey. So, it ended up being where he kind of became my motivator.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I think that's really important. I think adaptability is a huge pillar necessary, which is kind of a correlation type word I think of with Chameleon as being able to adapt and adjust and be, stern with the direction, but flexible with, the method, like you're
Yeah,
saying, right? Like the science is the same, but every single client, we're going to apply that a little bit differently.
100%.
Yeah, really neat. Only fun fact about chameleons I once had a pet chameleon named Brutus. RIP Brutus. He was really cool. Actually, I had Brutus when I was studying for my very first NASM cert when I wanted to become a trainer, and Brutus would sit on my shoulder. So he probably has a certification himself. If chameleons can read, he read the entire NASM CPT book.
Beautiful.
But goldfish, your final word. Chat with us about goldfish.
Sure. If anybody watches Ted Lasso, right? I mean, this is something that comes up in that show, and it's something that was taught to me. And I was very bad at this, by the way. But as a quarterback growing up, you got to have what they call short-term memory loss. You make a mistake, you got to get back to the sideline, learn from it. It's okay to be upset about it, but you got to go back out and be a leader within the next 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever, on the next series. And so the goldfish concept, and by the way, I Googled this just to see, do they really have short memories? And apparently it's a misconception. But anyways, the ability to let things go. And I'll give an example. Trainers, a lot of times, fitness professionals in general tend to be very confident people, competitive people. We want to be right, we're good. And so, that's a great characteristic to have. At the same time, it can work against us at times. I know it did with me early on, and I've seen it, especially with trainers. They start to get these no's, right? Hey, let's go talk to that member and see if they're interested in going through a sample workout. If I can tweak their form on this, you just get shut down. And then all of a sudden, it's like this fear of being able to go out and do that again, for the fact that I got pushback. And I think having that short-term memory loss, having that goldfish mentality, be like, hey, I'm not going to let that get in the way of what my passion is, right? And I had to learn over time, and what I try to encourage trainers, whenever you hear a no, it's really just a not right now, right? It could be the just the setting, it could be the timing, it could be for whatever reason they don't have the trust in you yet, which if it's a first time interaction, probably not, and so it's just not right now. And that falls even with clients. That doesn't change what you're trying to accomplish with them and the way at which you want to go. It just might draw the timeline out, but being able to just put that in the rearview mirror and get back to the vision you have in regards to getting them to where they want to get to, and adapting or modifying your approach in order to do that. It's what we have to do. Again, going back to that politely persistent, we have a goal, and our goal is their goal. And so we're going to get there one way or another. And in doing that, we teach them how to be goal oriented, is having that confidence of having set goals and achieve goals, set goals, achieve goals. Next thing you know, it's like, I'm going to throw these crazy goals out there because I know I can do that. That has to be instilled in people. And in order to do that, we can't give up or shut down just because we got something that, that occurred that wasn't to our liking. Shrug it off and keep going.
Yeah, I think resiliency is that big piece, and being able to, like that goldfish mentality you speak of, to apply that. And whether it's the negative in your day, or, to not harp on things, to not get overwhelmed with rejection. And that's a big piece in life, no matter what industry you're in, and also a personable, application as well. Or it's like, you're not everyone's cup of tea. No doesn't mean no. It's like, all right, now keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Goldfish memory out of your mind. And let's keep it going and focus on the things we can control, and focus on the positives, because weighing down in bombardment with all of those negatives or no's isn't going to get you where you ultimately want to go, right, with those goals. So love that. I won't share my goldfish story. I think everyone's done hearing my stories for the day.
You feel like you've owned a lot of animals.
I have. I'm an animal lover. I'm a compassion person. I'm like slowly turning into that old crazy cat lady, except with all animals. So tune in more for my second podcast, where I introduce you to all of my animals. Oh, well, I would ask you our final question. I ask every single guest that comes on this same question here, and really curious to hear your response, because so far you've been nothing but filled with wisdom and delight and just unique perspectives. So The final question is what you wish you would have had known earlier on. You go back, yeah, earlier you in your career, earlier you in your life. You can take this from, a career perspective, from just a personal life experiences lesson. Just what do you wish you would have had known?
Sure. This is something that actually has really become, I guess, more realized for myself since coming to EOS. And one of our core values is learn and grow. And how we really, that's not just read books. It's not just about sorry, listen to podcasts, but everybody please listen to this one. It's the growth mindset, which I didn't even know what that was, until we started, implementing this as one of our core values and explaining it through what we call our ethos training, which is the onboarding process that we do with every new hire. And the growth mindset is really that that lack of fear of being wrong, that lack of fear of asking dig deeper questions that you don't fully comprehend. It's really just as a kid, even early in my career, even on football, it's like if you ask questions, that means you don't know, which means you're not good enough. Was my mentality. That's that fixed mindset that really it doesn't allow you to grow. And so I wish that growth mindset concept and comfortability within it had been something that had been shared and implemented with me earlier in life, because there were many times where I was like, hey, I don't fully grasp this, and it would have been just so much easier to put my hand in the air and ask that question. And careers will move faster, educate everything, and nobody knows it all. But there's still many people who just have that fear of being wrong, and being humble enough to ask questions, and having that growth mindset, knowing that my ultimate goal is to become the best and most knowledgeable version of myself. In order to do that, I have to ask additional questions. And so I wish I could have gone back and told myself that many, many, many years ago.
Yeah, noted. Keep asking the questions, everyone. With that, do you have any additional questions you'd like to answer or ask before we wrap up the episode here?
No, it's been great. In my current role, I spend a lot of time talking to, I speak to trainers through other people, whether that be through district managers and RVPs. And, my passion absolutely lies in being able to talk to trainers directly, talking to fitness managers directly. And even more so, I get the opportunity to read our members' feedback daily through a feedback service that we use. And that is my passion. And so, I think that for anybody listening, just in regards to, if you're in the fitness industry, this is a high passion industry. There's a reason why I got into this as a part-time job while I finished school, and then I just quit school, which is not recommending that to anybody, but I knew I had found, what was my calling, because it's, high impact, high fun, high opportunity. And, I think it's a great industry. So, the opportunity to talk to you today about, these types of concepts and just my experience within them and all the things I don't know still that I'm excited to learn as we go was a heck of a lot of fun.
So much fun. I'm grateful for you being here. Thanks so much for your time. You can expect that text where we can continue to debate about the bowl topic. We'll hash it out in the virtual arena, the virtual workout. We'll go toe to toe there and square this up.
We're going down.
Right on. Well, I know I'll see you here soon, Rowdy. And thanks again.
Awesome. Thanks, RC.
Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed something from today's conversation, let us know by giving this episode a like, chatting in the comments, and sharing it with your friends. We always love to hear from you, so you can send email messages to podcast@fibr.fit and connect with us on Instagram @FitBridgePodcast for even more exclusive content. Special thanks to our friends at Winner Productions for all things audio and post edits. And on behalf of the entire staff here at Fiber, it's been my absolute pleasure helping bridge community to opportunity. Until next time, make sure you click that subscribe button for more episodes and go download the Fiber app today for all of your health and fitness industry needs.